Welcome back to the workshop. I present to you Child's Play, Puzzle Box 9. It was designed back in the summer of last year, but I started building it in 2025, mainly in February and March. So I have it here for you, and I'll show you some of the special features and certainly a close-up of what this thing is. If you had seen this, some of my videos previously, you know that I had a set of Playskool blocks as a child, and my parents recently gave them back to me. Here, have your blocks back. Well, I don't really like toy blocks. I didn't really have any use for them. So I decided I would make something, make a creation of some sort that would utilize the blocks, but also used some of my woodworking techniques. And so I came up with this. Now, I didn't have a complete set. I'm not sure what I had, and some of the blocks I had originally are probably gone. But anyway, I'll show you. So originally, I was just going to build sort of a castle sort of thing, and there wasn't going to be any puzzle part about it because it would be too difficult to do that. But I spent so much time on it, coming up with some little tricks that I decided to call it Puzzle Box 9. So that is what it is. But because it's child's play, because it's kind of child-based, that inner child, they're not that difficult to solve. So first thing, I'm going to go ahead and try to get in here. You remove these pillars up here on top. And because they're round, they want to go right off the table. So let's pull those off. And then this front, just like with the Parthenon, if you remember the Parthenon, these come off. They're held in with two dowels, and the little points go right through that. So this goes to the side. So the next thing, we have a panel here. I decided to paint something. This is something I've wanted to do for a while. It was sort of a black and white checkered floor going into the distance. And so a little painting. This is just acrylic on gesso on a wood board. And so let's remove that. And then what we have inside are some figurines. What these represent are some of the original toys I had growing up that I still have for some reason. So we have, now this is sort of a Native American warrior with an axe, and he had something else. This was not one of my toys. This is something my dad found in the yard and gave it to me, rather than throw it in the trash, I guess. But so this would have dated before my time. And I've kept it all these years. And we have a saber-toothed tiger. Back in here, I'm not even going to try to tell you on film what this thing is. It'll probably show up above. This is a dinosaur, but it was like a duck-billed dinosaur. And I think I had 2 or 3 of these things, but this yellow one was maybe my first, and I kept him all these years. He doesn't stand up very well, but there he is. Over here we have a globe, little globe. So it sort of kind of made a little museum vignette with these different things. And then, if you use one of these things as sort of a key, you can remove this center vault. There's a little magnet on the block, and that works with this. And inside we've got a couple little fellows that you might remember if you're my age or older. And you might know about these otherwise, I don't know. So we have the blockheads. The blockheads were characters from the little animation show Gumby. And so there was Gumby, there was Pokey, and these 2 blockheads that were usually up to no good. This guy's smiling. This guy's got a frown. They were always doing something, I don't know. They were like Wile E. Coyote to the Roadrunner. They were always trying to do things to upset Gumby and Pokey. I used to have Gumby and Pokey, but these 2 have remained. And so at this point, there's no point in getting rid of them now. Something else could be kept in there as well. I like puzzles, so I could put Hanayama puzzles in there. It's enough room to do that. So now we ask ourselves, is that it? Was, pulling the panel out and getting in here all there was? Well, there is this thing up here, and I hate wasted space, so there's got to be something going on. If you refer to the painting, the picture here, this actually gives a clue as to what's going on. So you've got the two purple pillars, and you got the floor, and then you got this kind of yellow pillar, yellow column, and behind that you got this red thing, which I don't know if that's a door or a chamber beyond. So the way I work that into this, back in here, I've got the yellow pillar. And inside the pillar is a key. You know how much I love keys and tools. Now, I don't know what this thing was for. I found it in a box here on the workshop. I don't know what it goes to. I don't know if, it's kind of old. Was this from a file cabinet? I don't know. I don't know what this thing goes to. So take the key, turn the piece around. There it is, the red door. And the key will fit into the keyhole. So we got a panel with a magnet here to a corresponding magnet up there. If you have followed this channel for some time, you know that this is Purple Heart, left over from the Parthenon project, and I've been incorporating Purple Heart into other projects, and so that is where that is here. Inside our little chamber, we've got a couple things. We have another dinosaur, if I can get him out. So this is see that at the top in the screen there. I believe that's what he is. There's not a lot of markings on him. And then, if you watched Puzzle Box 8, I'm going to start incorporating an animal in with each of the puzzle boxes. So this one gets the rhinoceros. There's no real reason why the rhinoceros was chosen for this one. That's the one I picked. So I'll put him down here where you can see him. So that is Puzzle Box 9. It's a great way to make use of a bunch of childhood items that you really have no use for, but you didn't want to throw away either. So it made use of all the blocks that I had, except this one. This is one piece that remains, and it could be used for an additional element or a replacement piece. So these are Playskool blocks. They were not only painted, I believe that they had some sort of a varnish on top. And because of that varnish, even though it's 50 years old, it was really hard gluing these to each other. In some cases, you'd have blocks here that are supporting these and these, or they themselves are supported by these and these. Something that I had the most trouble with in making this thing is I would glue something together, and then I'd work on other parts, and then something would come off. Let's say if I had, like these, I would have 2 blocks or 4 blocks or 6 blocks together. I would work on something, and then one of the blocks would come off. The glue joints were not that well. The glue didn't hold that well. You can see here there was a gap, and the reason this looks the way it is, I had to do the sawdust mixture with the glue to kind of fill the gap a little better to hold these together. And so there's the blue blocks here are rabbited, and the blue blocks at the top are rabbited for this piece here. And then you've got red blocks forming the roof, and then this piece on top. The original plans were for the chamber in the middle to come out, to be removable. But that was just too much extra stuff, and I decided because there were 2 chambers, there was no need to have one be removed. So it stays in, and the back of it is the back of the piece. And that allows for some area on either side for whatever you want to put, whatever I want to put. So going forward, this is going to remain on a shelf and just be for looks. The items kept inside will be these figurines and maybe some other stuff from my childhood if I find anything. It will not be a puzzle box in the idea of holding Hanayama puzzles, because I don't want to get into this thing too much. I suspect that the pieces of wood will come off. Again, in some cases like this, you can see that I've removed the finished area to make it easier to glue. Now, this is not a glued item. This is a door, and it was reduced to be able to fit inside this space. But there are other areas where I've had to take it down to the original wood to make it easier to glue because the finished surfaces were causing too many problems. So that is Puzzle Box 9, the Child's Play. And I'll continue making the oak that I had shown last year as being possible the next puzzle box. That'll probably be 10. And I'm thinking of doing something like a key and lock. So think about key and lock for the next puzzle box, which I'll probably be working on this spring into summer. Thanks for watching.